Only 7% of the population have at least $10,000 saved. So imagine how good it would feel by the end of this year when you manage to save at least 10,000 or more because you watched this video. Hi, it's Bafi, your financial guide on your financial journey, and I simply want to see you win. Now, we can all agree that one of the best ways to improving your financial health is to increase your income. But another way to take it to another level is to increase your savings rate. When we look at a lot of people's money blueprint, you will realize that as their income increases, their expenses and lifestyle grows as well. And so it often kind of leads people into a trap of financial stress, taking on a lot more debt than they need to, and living paycheck to paycheck. And the point of increasing your income is so you can actually live a much more balanced, fulfilling life. And I'm sure you work hard and want to be able to enjoy life. So here are 10 ways that you can improve your savings and cut back without sacrificing all the fun and experiences that you so deserve. First tip on this list is cable/subscriptions. Now, many of us can relate to it. Personally, I have about 10 subscriptions for various different things. Some are entertainment, some are business related, but the average individual has about 7 subscriptions. And this is something that we have to be very conscious and careful of because many of us have these subscriptions, yet we are not extracting the full value out of them. Or we have too many and we can't even keep up. Subscriptions often come with monthly or annual fees that can add up quickly. And so reducing the amount of subscriptions that we have means that at the end of the month, we actually end up spending less dollars. Of course, we all have good intentions when it comes to subscribing to services, streaming services, and other platforms. But as humans, we tend to kind of start off on a high. We end up using all of them in the beginning, but then it just tapers off, right? And so if you can manage to cancel the ones that you're no longer taking advantage of or getting value from, it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Not only that, it also saves you time. The worst thing is paying for a service, a product, or streaming that you actually don't use or you use maybe 3 times a year. Part of the challenge with having too many subscriptions is you also have like sensory overload and information overload, right? I'm switching from Hulu to Netflix, to Disney Plus, to Amazon Prime, to Paramount, to HBO Max, to this, to that. It eventually just becomes too much, and it's just too much things to keep track of and to stay on top of. And all of these platforms have a million live streamings for, sports, and then a million documentaries, million shows, bunch of movies, and it just ends up sucking up a lot of your money over time, and your actual energy goes down the more you utilize a lot of these things, right? Because you have to sit still, and by the time you start binge watching, next thing you know, the whole day is gone and you might not have been productive the way you wanted to. So by reducing the amount of subscriptions you have, you actually focus more on the platforms that gives you the most value, that you truly enjoy, as opposed to just having everything and enjoying damn near nothing. If you're like me, your email inbox is probably filled with hundreds, and for some people, thousands of emails, and they can't even keep up with it. Why? Because when you have too many subscriptions, you're always being bombarded with deals, discounts, new products, new services, new additions, just a bunch of newsletters as well, right? And so your email inbox becomes very cluttered, and they just keep bothering you with all these notifications, and that also take up digital space and space on your phone, and so it becomes quite intimidating. It becomes too much information all the time because these companies are designed to try and extract more of your financial dollars and your time away from you. So you have to be, right? You have to be the gatekeeper that stands at the door and ensure that by having fewer subscriptions, less of these things actually take place. Having subscriptions is not the problem. It's really about being selective and using subscriptions in the way that enhances your overall life experience. This mindfulness can extend to other areas of your life and help you with your decision making. And in doing so, it actually puts some money back in your pocket because instead of paying 7 to 10 subscriptions, you are paying maybe 3 to 4. Tip number 2 is unused gym membership. Now, this is one that I've seen so many people make it, and I've made it myself in the past. And I have family members. One of my cousins has a full-blown gym membership, but he actually never goes. And so that is something that is taking money out of your pocket consistently on a monthly basis, and yet you are not extracting any value out of that, right? You're not getting return on your investment. Investing is not only money, right? if you pay for the gym, be sure to actually go and utilize the machines, utilize the tools so you can get healthier, stronger, also look sexy. You know what I'm saying? Who don't like to look good? Yeah, a lot of people go to the gym to work out to, remain healthy and break a sweat, but shoot, I'm 30 right now and I like the way I look. And if I continue, by 40, I would still be running laps around these 25-year-old young cats out here. You know what I'm saying? So it is important. It helps keeps your energy, the youthfulness about yourself, and just your energy levels are good. You're strong. You can have fun. You feel good, right? And so when you feel good, you look good. You dress good. Everything else is affected. So yeah, if you're paying for the gym, make sure you're going to get in the workout. Anyway, the whole point is that gym memberships can be expensive. And so if you are paying and you're not going, it might be time to consider potentially canceling the gym membership or going down to a lower tier monthly subscription base for that gym. Especially if you're somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck or need to prioritize your savings, it might not be a good investment to be paying for a gym membership that you are not utilizing. Just because canceling the gym membership might be the right move, it does not mean that you forfeit or have an excuse for not taking physical activity and exercise seriously. There are numerous ways that you can still get the same benefits of working out without actually paying for it on a monthly subscription. You can exercise at home for convenience and flexibility, whether it is stretching, whether it's yoga, push-ups, pull-ups, ab workouts, riding a bike, especially in the summer. You want to get outside and work out outside. These are all great ways of staying active and healthy. Plus, these days you get 4 weather seasons in one day, right? So you might look outside and say, it's raining, it's going to be harder to go to the gym, or it's snowing, or you have to actually get in your car and drive, right? So the more you make working out and your financial journey simple and convenient, the easier it is to actually make progress both in your physical health, mental health, and your financial health. If you have to do too many things just to go to the gym or do a million things just to be able to save, chances are it's not gonna stick, and you can't be consistent with that. Also, engaging in some outdoor activities like hiking, biking, like I stated earlier. Also, team sports related activities, right? 5-on-5 basketball, pick up games at the park. You play some soccer with a bunch of people, and that makes it more enjoyable to physically, remain active as opposed to having to do everything on your own or just going to the gym, right? You need that social community. You need those accountability partners, and you can do it and work out over things and sports activities that you really enjoy. So find a community for that, because having that community is actually going to motivate, inspire, and keep you guys holding each other accountable to make progress. Sometimes when you have just a gym membership, it's easy to lack motivation. You're tired, you're not inspired, you just got out of work, you're hungry, you're dealing with stress. Maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend is annoying you, family responsibilities, financial problems. So you need to find ways to make doing these things, convenient. You're looking for life hacks, right? You're looking for ways to trick your brain so you can then get a benefit of return on investment and return on time. Yeah. The next tip is frequently dining out. You might want to reduce it because life is expensive. The moment you put your foot outside the door, that's $100, $200 gone, okay? I mean, McDonald's is charging $30 for a McChicken and a Big Mac. Yo, let's be real. Medium fries is like $3, $4. What happened to the Happy Meals, bruh? If McDonald's is charging this much, what do you think these restaurants are charging, right? Especially if you go to like a nice high-end-ish / medium level restaurant. They're gonna be charging an arm and a leg, maybe an ear. Dining out is generally more expensive than making meals at home. So one of the best things you can do is, instead of dining out, every single week, you might end up going out maybe twice a month, right? Because the goal is not to not live and experience the things you enjoy and you're passionate about, but everything is within balance. So you dine out maybe twice a month, and the remainder of the time you actually do grocery shopping and you cook meals. Not only does this improve your finances, it also improves your health simultaneously, because the best nutritional value you're gonna get is actually meals that you prepared and cooked from scratch. So you get to cook meals from scratch, which helps you on your cooking skills. You get to do grocery shopping, which allows you to get the ingredients that your body and mind needs the most. And then thirdly, it helps you on the finance side, right? When you go out, you spend $50, $100, let's say you go out for dinner, that's $100, right? $100 of grocery can last you at least a week, depending on where and how you go about your grocery shopping. If you go to IHOP, you're spending $50 on just one sitting, one meal that in about 6 hours, you're gonna end up going number 2 in the bathroom with, okay? But if you spend $50 on breakfast, let's say you buy eggs, milk, oatmeal, you buy some fruits, You buy, whether it's bread, croissants, right? There's a few yogurt, there's a few other options, grains, all these other things that you can buy. That's $50 worth that will last you at least an entire week of breakfast. Also, when it comes to dining out, you actually don't just go out and eat a meal, right? You have your appetizers, then the main course, sometimes dessert. You have drinks. You might have 1 or 2 drinks, but then you're like, I'm feeling nice, feeling a little tipsy. Let me get another. And then the waiter or waitress might come by and be like, hey, another drink. And you're like, yeah, right? So before you know it, all these things starts adding up. Let's not forget gratuity and the tipping culture along with the service fee, right? Like you get charged for service fee / transaction fee. And we're in a culture where many people depend on tipping or tips to actually make some money, right? A lot of the waiters and waitresses, times are hard, inflation is up, the job market is insane, cost of living is extremely high. So it's important to be generous when you go out to eat and tip well, especially for good service, because guess what? Some of these people, that is the only way they actually make money, right? So the bartenders, the waiters, the waitresses, make sure that you take care of them, especially if they're taking care of you. But in order to tip well and not feel the financial burden of that tipping, you have to get your money in order. That's why these videos are important. That's why savings is important. That way, when you actually go out and tip, you can tip appropriately so that you feel good about what you just did and not go home and regret the fact that your savings account is not going up and is going down, and you might have used your credit card in some of these scenarios. That's one side of the coin. When looking at it from a different perspective, you also have to get ready. And for the fellas, it's a lot easier for us, right? We just shower, brush our hair, brush our teeth, put some lotion, deodorant, put clothes on, and walk out the door. We're just dashing in it. Yeah, we're just dashing for them. But for the ladies, it's a completely different experience. There's so much that has to go into it, right? They have to do their hair, they have to do their makeup, lashes, eyeliner, foundation, concealers, right? I think that's what it's called. I don't know. The nails, the clothes that they're wearing, jewelry, accessories, purse, all these things goes into it, and all those things also cost money. And so these ladies and everybody, in that space definitely works hard to ensure that they look presentable, that they look good, and when you look good, you feel good. So, fellas, if you have a significant other that do all these things to stay on top of their game, make sure that you're proud and you're proud to be with them. And when you go out, make sure you take care of these ladies, man. Make sure, come on now. That's why you gotta get the savings right. You gotta get the investments right and the money right, so you can do the things that these women deserve, because they work hard out there in the workforce. They continue educating themselves. They're working hard and better in all areas of their life, and they also care about you, and they try to make sure that they look really good for you all the time. And so get the money right, so y'all could just have some fun. Like I said, the goal is not to completely stop dining out and experiencing things you like, but more often than not, for people that dine out regularly, it tends to have a negative financial impact. And during these moments is why having a financial budget, a monthly budget plan, is essential, because you can actually budget for fun, which is something I do with all the clients that I work with and anybody that have taken advantage of my services, all products. We make sure that we're having fun. So you just have to budget a certain amount of money for these fun activities and experiences you want to have, as opposed to just flying blind and just shooting in the dark, not knowing what's really going on with your finances. And at the end of the month, you start to realize that, hey, you owe this much money, you have no savings, but you got paid a lot and you have no idea what happened to your money. My recommendation, as I've stated, is to dine out periodically. And secondly, you have a good financial budget that gives you enough flexibility, but more importantly, also allows you to save for tomorrow. The fourth tip is high interest credit cards, and these credit cards with crazy rates are a huge drain on your money and your financial journey and your ability to save and ultimately invest or even get out of debt. I want you to listen carefully and understand this. The two most dangerous things that have a negative impact on your personal finance are taxes and high interest debt. The reason why taxes are so dangerous is because before you even get money that you work hard for, that comes in your bank account, guess what? You lose 20 to 30% of your gross income off the top, right? And so the remainder that eventually ends up in your bank account, that money is already taxed. But guess what? When you go to purchase food, goods, services, clothes, transportation, whatever you go to buy after, you pay taxes on that, right? And so you're not only taxed at 20 to 30%, every other purchases you're being taxed. So in reality, the money that you actually get from your hard work is closer to 50%, which means the only way to actually keep more of your money is to save in your regular savings, but more importantly, save in your 401k, because that comes off before you get taxed, right? Save it, putting money in your 401k or a taxable brokerage account, any investment vehicle, that is a form of saving. And when it comes to high interest rates, it is extremely dangerous and just as powerful as taxes, right? Because this is money that you owe to the banks, your lender, your creditor, whoever you borrow the money from, whether it's for a mortgage, a house, a car, right? Auto loans, whether it's credit cards that you're using. This is guaranteed money that you owe them at insane rates, which is absolutely over 20%, okay? And that is money that is working against you. It is compounding against you, but it's compounding in the right direction for these banks. And so you want to ultimately reverse that process, right? If I borrowed $100, I only want to pay $100. I don't want to pay $120. That makes no sense. With that strategy, right, you add taxes to that, taxes in general, and then with high interest debt, with that strategy, it's very difficult to save and come up for air. So you want to flip it and reverse it. Because high interest rate comes with high APRs, you tend to keep the balance a lot longer than you should. And the sad part is many of us are actually not borrowing money on necessities, right? Or we're not using these financial tools and resources efficiently. You might need a car, but do you need a Benz like I did when I went and bought a Benz about 10 years ago? Absolutely not, right? You might need to build credit, but do you need to be building credit by using that money to buy things that you're not going to use or have any value with? Probably not, right? So we have to be very careful and strategic, because debt and credit card debt and all these interests that's applied to these loans are crippling. That's one of the reasons why many people have a difficult time saving, even if their income is pretty good. And that's because when you begin making payments on your debt, you are fighting the interest, okay? You're not actually fighting the principal, meaning the money that you borrowed. You are fighting the interest, the accumulation, the compounding effect that is making money for the banks, whether you borrowed it for student loans or all these other ways of borrowing money. And you are finding the interest, you're not finding the principal. So as you're finding the interest, the principal is still growing and compounding. So it makes it almost impossible. You're going against the tide, and it's very difficult to swim against the tide. To mitigate some of these high interest debt and payments that will end up dragging your financial journey to the abyss, it is wise to make sure that, number one, if you have a bunch of credit cards, you minimize the amount of credit cards you have, right? And then secondly, try to negotiate on the remaining balances on your credit cards or your loans, whether it's student loans or auto loans. Try to see if you can negotiate and make deals where you don't have to pay basically the entire full amount, but they will settle for certain pieces of it. Another way to make progress here is to also begin making additional payments or extra payments towards the credit card, because it allows you to pay it off quicker, right? So if you get bonuses, if you get tax refunds, if you get gifted some money, if you get a salary increase, these are all great opportunities to begin going ham on this debt that is destroying your wealth. Because guess what? It is going to get in the way of your ability to be able to save and ultimately invest money. Don't borrow money just because you can or because they just have all these perks. If you're not financially responsible and know how to manage your debt and your finances effectively, because it's not going to help you in that scenario. And so you want to be very cautious. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Oftentimes, it's actually easy to build credit. We keep telling, a lot of times we'll tell ourselves, oh, well, I'm doing it this way because I'm building credit. Well, you don't need a whole bunch of debt to actually build credit, right? If you have a car note and you're making your payments monthly responsibly, you're building credit. If you have student loan and you're making payments, you're building credit. If you have one credit card and you use it and you pay it off responsibly, you're building credit, okay? And so we don't need a million other ways to build credit. Credit score is really like a report card, right? It's a grade. It doesn't mean that you're good with money or know how to manage your money. It simply means that these banks have noticed that you are responsible in paying back your debt. And so they're going to try to entice you with, zero APR for 1 year. With, spend $10,000 in the first 2 months and you get whatever per points, whatever you want to call it, right? It simply means that they know that they can get more money out of you than anything else. And so you got to start thinking, what is the point of giving these people all my resources that I work hard for when I'd rather put it towards things I enjoy, things I want to experience, build my savings up, right? Be able to invest and live a way better financial life. Tip number 5 on how you can save $10,000 by the end of the year is to avoid brand name items and brand name purchases. Yes, there's a saying, designer and name brands are for broke people. From clothes, grocery shopping, cars, and all these other things that we purchase, oftentimes you can opt out of the designer or name brand version and get something generic and still get the same high level of experience, high level of a quality product or service, and it helps you save a ton of money. Name brands and designers come with a premium price tag compared to generic options, right? And so a lot of times we think we're paying the premium price for a specific level of quality, durability, X, Y, and Z. But in many cases, it costs $5, $10 to actually make the actual garment or the product that you're buying. Only thing they did was just slap on their brand name, right? The luxury brand name, whether it's Gucci or Louis V or Off-White or Yeezy or I don't know. Well, what are some of these luxury? That's how you know I buy the generic stuff. You know what I mean? And these luxury products and goods also symbolizes status, right? In terms of like, hey, I've arrived, I've made it, I'm winning at life, I'm successful, I'm wealthy. But you will recognize that it's not really what you're wearing that matters most, is what you're driving up to. How much of your time do you own? How flexible, how many flexible options do you have? How many assets are you invested in, right? The quality of your physical and mental health. Are you contributing and doing the work that you truly enjoy, that you're passionate about, right? And making a big impact. These are all things, healthy quality family time. These are all things that are way more wealthier than any name brand or product. I'm not just telling you this, I'm speaking from experience. I've lived it on both sides of the spectrum on this one. Because when I first graduated out of college with my undergrad, making about $35,000 a year, the first thing I thought of was, let me go buy me a Mercedes Benz, which was obviously a terrible financial decision that I made back then. But fortunately enough, it was a great lesson and I was able to learn it quickly, right? And that's just with a car. Imagine all the other areas that many of us make some of these poor financial decisions in, right? So you have car, you have clothes, you have, trips, you have jewelry, right? You have shoes, that's a big one. You have all these other things like, decor, all these other things that we spend a lot of money on when we truly cannot afford it. Spending money on these things is not the issue. It's making sure that you have a healthy balance of good savings, good debt, or getting rid of bad debt, investing money, and allowing yourself the flexibility to enjoy these things without feeling guilty about them. But for me, buying the Benz was an absolutely terrible idea. So anybody, I highly recommend this. If you're coming out of school, college, and you're not making a lot of money, definitely don't go and buy a name brand luxury car or spend too much resources on name brand products. Unfortunately, society puts a lot of pressure on us to continuously upgrade and buy the latest gadgets, latest thing, the newest iPhone, the newest clothes, newest brand, the hottest thing in town. And it is very important that we do not self-sabotage trying to impress people that don't really care about us or value our lives the way that we need to prioritize, right? And so there are so many things where you have to be able to think for yourself and make certain decisions. And one of the best ways that I recommend for you to do that is to focus on needs versus wants. There's nothing wrong with wanting what you want, but hey, what do you need at this present moment that's going to allow you to be able to afford the things that you want? Another thing to consider is before you actually buy these luxury or items or products, look at the real features and the pros and cons of it, right? And then look at some alternative options out there and weigh out those pros and cons and features and see, can you get the same benefits from the luxury one by just buying the generic version of that? And if the answer is yes, then hey, you can buy the generic version and save yourself hundreds and in many cases thousands of dollars that you end up putting back in your savings. That's something I certainly practice when it comes to purchasing goods and products because it's important to do the research, right? You can do research, check out reviews, see what people think about it, what people's experiences are in using the product. Was it good? Was it the quality of it? Was it durable? Did it last? Did it break easily? Right? You can buy something that has a high premium price tag thinking that the quality is top notch and then it breaks in day 2 or after week 1 or just a few months when you can buy a very fancy couch, something like that, furniture, and then end up being crippled financially because it lasted 2 months when you could have picked up something from IKEA that is fire, right? Fire, but a lot more reasonable, maybe affordable. That's options. So make sure you utilize all the options to help you make the right decision. Tip number 6 on how you can manage to save $10,000 by the end of the year is to reduce the excessive mobile use and mobile plans. You would be surprised how many people and families pay for data, phone plans, and just storage space within their phone that they actually don't use not even half or a quarter of them. And some of these benefits in certain plans are designed for people that actually know how to use and maximize it, and people that really need that type of space, right? If you're just using your phone for just basic necessities, unlimited Wi-Fi, unlimited internet, being able to call, you can call people unlimited text, right? And do some of these usual functions, you don't need the highest, most expensive plan, and you don't need so much, storage space within your phone, because you're not maximizing that, right? You actually have no value or no use for that. So paying those extra dollars is not worth it. You can put those extra dollars in your savings. And this is an area that's really important, because many of us are actually living life blind, right? We don't pay attention to these things because it's a monthly automated deduction that comes out of our income or our checking accounts. So we don't pay attention to it. But I highly recommend that you look at your monthly statement, because sometimes, these phone service companies, they be stealing your money, right? You'll notice they're charging fees and charging for things that just don't add up, right? So do a nice little monthly reconciliation or a monthly review, just to make sure that whatever they're charging you is something that you're actually, utilizing. And they like to sweeten the deal, right? They'll give you a bundle, a deal. You get the newest iPhone and you get this, and it's gonna cost you save this much more a month, X, Y, and Z. If you can't buy the phone in cash, or you don't have the money to buy the phone in cash already sitting there, you do not need to upgrade from an iPhone 15 to an iPhone 16. It's just, the only thing they changed about these iPhones is the name and the adding one more number from 15 to 16, right? And so if you don't have the money, make sure that you're focusing on your needs versus wants, right? Because honestly, the iPhone 15 is already fire. Any iPhone from 12 up, you're golden. There's no need to really switch or do too much with that, right? So just relax, enjoy what you have, and have fun. Don't put yourself in a financial burden, financial stress if it's not necessary. You don't want to overcommit to a mobile plan, because many of these comes with a contract, right? They kind of basically, they force you to kind of sign a contract for 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is. And so that's a way of them guaranteeing that they're going to make a certain amount of money off you. And so you want to give yourself the flexibility, and before you sign these contracts, again, shop around, see what's feasible, what other options are there that are more affordable, but still gives you the same benefits. And then the remaining of the money, guess where you're going to put it? In your savings, so you can reach what? 10 bands. Another thing is, some people might like prepaid plans because it allows you to pay the money up front and then you just kind of use it and then whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of prepaid plans because, it's 2024 and yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can just live a little bit. It's okay to take care of yourself, live a little bit. Just do it responsibly. That's all I'm saying. But there are people out there where a prepaid plan might be a better option or better a better route for them to take, as opposed to just having, say a certain type of mobile phone plan with T-Mobile or Verizon that's costing them so much money, and then you can't even get service when you really need the service. The 7th tip on how to save 10K this year is don't buy a new car. It's really just that simple, okay? New cars are money pits, and they are depreciating assets, meaning they're only going to take money out of your pocket. They're never going to put money in your pocket, ever. If you're rich, buy whatever you want. It doesn't really matter, right? Because you have the money. But never buy a new car or a luxury brand car if you're broke, okay? Making money, you can say, yeah, I make money, but guess what? Making money don't make one wealthy or rich. Investing it does. And in order to invest it, you have to build a habit of saving, because if you don't know how to save, forget about investing. The good news is that new cars and luxury vehicles tend to have warranties that cover repairs. The problem is, once these warranties are over, all the cost associated with the maintenance and these repairs is on you. And so you're going to be paying high dollars to fix them. For example, when I had the Mercedes-Benz 10 years ago, after a while the warranty runs out, right? And it gets a little tricky, right? They'll tell you, oh yeah, well, it covers this, you have that. Great. You go to fix your car or something happens and you all of a sudden discover that your warranty does not cover this specific issue with the car. and then you got to spend thousands of dollars. It's a Mercedes Benz, man, not a Honda Civic where you can put anything in there for like, $300, $500, right? One tire is $1,000 plus. And so always have wheel and what is it? Tire and wheel, right? Always have tire and wheel warranty. It comes in handy. That's not just for luxury cars or new cars. That's just for all the cars that you have in general, right? Like regular cars or non-name brand cars, whatever. Okay, but these things are expensive. Once the warranty goes out, that's it. You're on your own, and you're gonna be spending boku cash. And most of the time, we don't have that type of money. And let's not forget the additional costs and fees that's associated with new cars and luxury vehicle. We're talking about sales tax, we're talking about registration fees, and dealership fees. No matter what type of car you end up purchasing, you are going to pay some fees associated with closing the deal, but you can control how much of that you pay. So on average, you're probably going to end up spending between $1,000 to $3,000 on some of these extra fees and taxes associated with it. But on the high end, you can spend easily $10,000 plus if it's a luxury car and you're buying it at, let's say that luxury dealership. It comes with a whole different level of price when it comes to fees and taxes associated with it. So you want to move very smart and strategic. You want to get the car that you need, get a little bit of the stuff that you want to see and have in your car without paying, say, top dollar for it. Don't forget, new cars come with higher financial costs, right? Because you're talking about high insurance premiums. And for the Benz, yeah, full coverage, man. Because I ain't got no money to be, getting in an accident or getting some scratches and things blowing out of it and be paying it out of pocket. So you got to get full coverage. So insurance obviously is going to be a lot more expensive. Keep in mind that in general, the interest rates applied to new cars and luxury vehicles are a lot higher than interest that's applied to, let's say a Honda Civic, a Nissan, a Toyota, that is, that has 50,000 miles on it or 80,000 miles on it. So you have to be very careful. The interest rates do work against you, not for you. So you want to purchase vehicles that give you a chance of a much lower interest rate or APR. For some people, depending on their lifestyle or location, they might have additional options to move in a way where they might not even need to actually purchase a car, right? So if you live in a nice environment where, you have access to train lines, you have access to public transportation such as buses, all these other light rails, all these other forms of transportation that cost you damn near almost nothing, maybe $100 a month, maybe $200 a month, depending on your location and situation. Check out some of those options first before you purchase a car, right? Because you might realize that, you have a car, now you have to worry about where to park it, put gas in it, pay the car note, right? Pay insurance every month, and you're getting tickets. I used to get tickets, and sometimes they were my fault, but sometimes they weren't. But the point is, for some people, there are options, and you want to utilize those as well. Tip number 8 is energy efficiency. And when you're a child, this definitely don't come to your mind. You don't care. Why? Because you don't pay utilities, you don't pay for water or electric. You just use whatever, run whatever, leave whatever. And even as an adult, in my own personal experience as well, I've noticed that there are times and moments where even though I'm paying for these things, I'm not being conscious and making the right decisions. And so you end up spending more money on a monthly basis for utilities and energy as opposed to being more responsible. Some of the things you can do is to make sure that you're turning off the lights, the AC, the heat, water, right? Don't leave these things running because it costs money. And then plus, part of it is also being conscious, right? Having access to energy is a beautiful thing and is a great thing. And I hope everybody and more people in the world have access to some of these basic life fundamental needs, right? But just because you have it doesn't mean just waste it, right? We don't want to be a wasteful society. We know that there are others out there that don't have running waters in their house. They don't have, say, electricity or light or, heaters and AC. They use fans, and there's nothing wrong with fans, but, there are certain environments the heat can be, extreme, or the cold can be extreme. So because we have these resources at our disposal and we're so used to it, we almost forget how essential and valuable they are. So it's important that we respect that energy space. And in doing so, we actually save some money in the long run. Like I said earlier, and this includes me, there are scenarios and times where I'm not turning the light off, or I leave the TV running the whole day. And then my fiance has to remind me like, hey, look, turn some of these things off sometimes, right? And so my recommendation is in the morning after you get ready and you're heading out, just do a quick walkthrough in your house, turn everything off real quick. and then go on about your business, right? And then that includes the AC, includes the TV, unplug some things, if the light, make sure no water is running. And then when you get back home, you turn these things on, right? This is very important. Tip number 9 is impulse buying and purchases. This is one of the most deadliest, dangerous things that we can emotionally, mentally indulge in without a financial plan and a budget. Retail therapy is a response to an emotional trigger that can quickly add up and take money out of our pocket, give it to everybody else out there, only for us to find out that what we actually bought thinking that it was gonna help us is actually something that we don't care for, or we're gonna use it once or twice a year. And not only that, there's a difference when you have the money sitting there and you're buying these products or goods on impulse or therapy, however you want to call it, or soft life, whatever you identify it as is up to you. But the worst case scenario is when you don't have the money and you are accumulating credit card debt through this type of purchasing by indulging in impulse buying and retail therapy. That is extremely dangerous. Essentially, you're doubling down on being broke or wanting to be broke. And let's not forget, there's something called buyer's remorse, which is what I mentioned. You buy something and in the moment, yeah, it felt great, but later on you realize, so stupid of me, which I've done it a million times as well, right? And so it's important that before you buy certain things, or when you have that urge of impulse spending, impulse buying, take a minute, just breathe. Take a minute to breathe, relax a little bit, think it through, and when you see the product or whatever, don't buy it at that moment, right? Go home, think about it, sleep on it a little bit, maybe 1 day, 2 days. Chances are you will realize that, you don't even want the damn thing, you don't care about it, and so you're not going back to buy it. If you think about it, you sleep on it, and you realize like, oh no, this is actually something that I actually would enjoy, and it doesn't affect my financial well-being, hey, then go ahead and enjoy it a little bit, right? It's all good. Shopping in and of itself is not the problem. It's important that we do shop intentionally and we shop with a budget. Another tip I'll give you is to make sure that when you're actually going shopping or retail shopping, you make a list of the things that you need. Just like when you go grocery shopping, you make a list of the amount of food and goods or whatever ingredients, groceries that you need to make. Do the same thing on the retail side. It's going to protect you from looking at a million different things that you don't need, and instead of going to get the 5 things you really needed to get and focus on, you end up with 15, and then only about 5 of them actually get utilized. Also, when it comes to shopping, I encourage that you shop with cash, because when you physically pay for something with the physical cash, you see the money leaving your possession in that transaction, right? The problem is when you're paying for things with whether debit cards or credit cards, you don't physically see the money, so you're swiping, right? And so you don't see it, you don't feel it. It doesn't have the same emotional impact or psychological impact until you go to look at your statement weeks later or a month later and realize that, oh my God, I overspent. So whenever you're going shopping, make sure you have, if it's possible, make sure to have the cash with you, and then that way when you go, you spend the cash. When you're out of money, when you're out of cash, you're done for the shopping period. You know what I'm saying? You got to wait for the next paycheck and work your budget and have some fun then. The last tip, which is tip number 10, is overpriced internet service, right? Similar to the mobile plans, many people and families are actually overspending for the internet. And the reason why is because we somehow think that if something costs more money, it means it's faster or just better. That's not the case. There are a lot of ways you can get the same benefits and be online and have a fast moving Wi-Fi without spending too much money. And so if you are in a position to share the cost of internet and Wi-Fi with your family members or your neighbors, definitely do so, because you both can get 100% of the benefits of a fast internet and only pay for half the cost. So if you live in an apartment or live in a home, and you can just chop it up with your neighbor and be like, yo, what's up, my man? How much you pay for Wi-Fi? $100? All right, cool. Let's do 50. I'll pay half, you pay half. We use the same thing. Now, I'm not sharing my Wi-Fi with nobody. I'm not gonna lie. Mine stays here. We got a password on it. But if somebody came and was like, hey, look, I'm thinking about this scenario. Do you want to do it with me? I'm like, absolutely. I'm game. Let's get it. It's lit. You save money. I save money. We both get online, and it's up. The bonus tip is when it comes to subscriptions, especially with video streaming services, you don't have to pay for everything. Split it. Split it with a friend. Split it with family members, with siblings. Just split it. You don't have to pay for everything yourself. like Netflix, right? I mean, I don't even use my own Netflix. I use somebody else's Netflix. Same thing with Peacock. I use Kojo, who's my best friend, and he lives in Atlanta, and I'll be using his Peacock, right? So there are ways you can go about it. You can split all the cost, or you can take the Netflix, that other person can take, say, Hulu, and you guys share the accounts. Hopefully, as we went through this list, you identified some of the areas that can help you beef up your savings account. I'm hoping you took down some notes on the solutions I provided you that's going to help you put these things in practice. Keep in mind that if you don't build a habit of savings, you are going to work for money with all your time, energy, and resources forever until you die. I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for anybody for that matter. This year, make a strong conscious effort to practice some of these habits so you can save at least $10,000. Subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment so we can encourage others to save, and I'll see you next time. So happy savings. Cheers.